Right. Gonna catch some people unawares. We are 10 minutes early for a change. That's because my guest is ready and waiting, and he's put me under pressure to come on early. So I'm gonna do that. The things we do for white people, eh? Man, we mess up the entire show when we have white people on the agenda. It's KC. Don't worry, we'll give you a chance to log on from 8 o'clock when we talk the important stuff. But it's the late night report coming to you 10 minutes early. Yeah, Kathy says you're early. Indeed, I'm early. But don't stress, we're going to mess around a bit and talk other stuff and then get into the hardcore stuff for tonight. So, good evening and welcome to the platform. Me, KC Caro, the one you love to love, the one you love to hate, and everything in between. It's what we do every weeknight, 8 o'clock, the late night report. And don't forget the midday report at 12:30. Mervyn Naidoo, good evening. Watching from Crofty in Chatsworth. Kathy is in Peter Maris, but Sheila Naika, where are you? If you're new to the program, log on and tell us where you're watching from. Casey, what's your view on those Moti kids that were kidnapped? I'll try not to comment on that too much. Rosebud says, good evening, good evening, good evening, welcome. What kind mother, how are you? Divalt Kutsia, how are you? And Belden Naya talking about the kids who were kidnapped there. Edwina Taz, good evening and welcome. Great to be present, sir. Indeed, great to have you here. So welcome to it. We got a nice discussion happening tonight. Something different for you guys. Malcolm says, hey, I'm from Crofty too. Hello, neighbor. Mervyn is in Democrats Avenue. I think it is. 502. Keshni, what kind? Very early tonight. Indeed, I'm early. So you guys got your notifications. We got 8 minutes early to go, and but I'm gonna get my guest on early because we haven't chatted like this for a while, so we'll talk about other stuff. Maybe pick his mind on the Phoenix accused, get some of his little bit of his knowledge on the on that. He's not a criminal attorney per se, but I'm sure he'll give us some advice. Malcolm says I'm from 531. What road is 531? Tonight's show brought to you by Jesse Dating. If you are online, if you're single and looking, take advantage of the free membership offer. Free membership offer, absolutely free of charge. www.jessedating.co.za. Spindina says, how are you? Where were you? We missed you. Right, let's get down and ready. Welcome, guys. Welcome. My guest is in the studio, and as per Nicole Graham, is backstage in the studio, and the catering company has make sure there's samosas there, and vedas, and soji, and biryani, and we just cater for our guests. We just cater. We make sure that everyone is looked after. So I'm glad he's having some meals backstage, courtesy of KC Caro Charo. We can ask him how was the samosas when you bring him on, and let's do that right now. Let's bring him on. And there we go.
Casey, how's it going?
Wow. Welcome. Look at my mouse story. I would get your volume right on my thing. I'm having a split screen issue here. I'll lose the mouse when I want to. Good evening, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you 100%.
This one, if I can hear you so much, so well. Let me just get to my, pick my volume up. I just switched my volume a bit low because I was watching some porn today. I didn't want my wife to hear, so.
Your dating website not working for you anymore.
hasn't come through yet, so I'm just getting there. Anyway, good evening and welcome.
Me a free membership for your dating website. Come on, man.
Sorry? What's that?
You're offering everybody else free membership for your dating website. You haven't offered me free membership.
Yeah, that's because you are, like the rest of us, you are hooked up, so I can't get you involved in these things. I can't compromise you. Welcome, nice seeing you after many moons. We've chatted on the phone most of the time. I haven't seen your mug though, but glad to have you online.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the opportunity.
And just for while we wait some couple of minutes while everyone gets online, because 8 o'clock is the time the show starts. People think I've robbed them of the information. Just kick their mind back. When did we first meet, by the way? A couple of years back.
Sure. You and I, that was one night, and that was quite a hectic night. It was at a function for
The
a,
Lord Formula One.
yes. And that was, I think we were probably the last people to leave.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, part of me was, I think I left behind there. But yeah, we clicked from the beginning at that stage, and yeah, I'm like a bad rash. You just haven't been able to get rid of me since then.
yeah, great. But what, even in that function, there was quite a lot of people. It's the first time you met me, so you can throw me up here. What do you think of me the first time you met me? And obviously, we hooked up since then.
Well, my opinion of you hasn't changed. It's actually just grown. I've always found you incredibly funny, and now that I've gotten to know you, I don't think people realize what you actually do for the community. And at a time, and I probably am going to get a little bit personal here now, and you're probably going to burn me for it later. But at a time when you weren't working, people don't know this. At a time when you weren't working because of COVID, you were raising money, and when you needed it, you were giving it away to other people who were really needing it. And people don't know that. And I sometimes get upset when I see about how people criticize you, but they have no idea what you actually do for the community. And yeah, the haters will always hate, eh? But I tell you something, if you ever decide to form a political party, you've got my vote.
Yes, I know
Straight up, man.
you and I have been chatting about that, and you are the one who's been pushing me into politics and telling
Yes.
me stuff. In fact, you said you'd give me the backing, you'd give me the legal backing, you whatever. I know you've been, and I've been saying no, no, no. But there is a plan. Everything there's a time and a place for everything. So I'm sure that'll come. I think
Well,
I'm
our
just
country
holding
needs
my.
you.
Sorry.
Our country needs you more than ever, more than ever. And I think people need to know about what you actually do for the community. They don't. They just sit around and criticize you. And they don't know how hard you work, and they don't know what you do and what you sacrifice and what you give and how many people you actually help. But yeah, hopefully one day they will.
Well, respectfully, we'll disagree. I think most of my fans know just that the critics come out and I just give them some airtime. So I think a lot of my fans just know a lot about me. And thanks for following me, by the way. And you gave me an interesting story that even your dad follows me and watches my videos.
Yes. Now my dad, God bless his soul, the AWB is a bit left for him, on the left side of the political spectrum for him, but he's an avid follower of yours, and he sends me videos of you all the
Yeah,
time.
he was
No,
surprised that
seriously.
my dad sent me the video of you.
Yes, and like I say, the AWB is a little bit on the left of the political spectrum for him, and he's an avid follower of you. And
Oh wow.
we're talking about yeah, right wing central here. So you've got followers everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. When you told me that, it was very important for me to hear. And when people come on, wherever they are, in every spectrum, that they follow me. In fact, just now, just before I came online, I went online with an old guy, whatever, and we just chatted. I just said him, "Hi, how are you?" And he said, "I'm fine." And then he comments because he hardly comments. He commented on a WhatsApp to say, "Love your live streaming stuff." So I said to him, "Do you watch?" He said, "I watch all the time, and it's so thoroughly entertaining." And I never thought he'd be watching, but he says he watches it all the time.
People, I have gotten your videos from a lot of people, especially your telephone calls to Cyril and the Minister of Police. Those are phenomenally popular.
Yeah, yeah, it
And
is.
yeah, and there's some people that actually believe it's real. And of course, I tell them it is real when they ask me.
Yes. Actually, I got the ultimate compliment from a friend of mine who's in the movie business. He writes scripts and directs movies. So he WhatsApped me very early on, a couple of months ago when I first started it, after the first 4 or 5. He says, "Dude, I gotta ask you, is that is that a real call?" And this is a guy who's a movie producer, right? And then I just lambasted him. He says,
And you
"But
must
dude,
say yes.
he said, that's a compliment because the way you do it, it's so realistic that even he thought I was actually talking to somebody
Well, I tell
on the
people
other
when they ask me, and they do ask me, I say it's real.
end." Like one guy says to me, "Please put on the speakerphone next time. Please, we want to hear what he's saying on the other end."
I say, you must tell him you're not allowed to.
Yeah. Shando, just quickly, we're going to start this now, right? We're almost into starting. So give us a brief background about you, how you got into law, how long you were in law, and all of that.
Okay, this will be a fairly short story. I was a professional soldier for a long time,
Oh,
and there I got
yes,
sort of
yes.
there I got involved with the law, and thought I could do it. And so when my body became a bit old and a bit beat up to do soldiering, I did my law degree. And yeah, then by hook or by crook, I ended up practicing divorce law. And in divorce law, I started specializing because fathers were getting such a raw deal. I saw that all the time. And nobody was representing fathers. Most of the matrimonial lawyers, divorce lawyers, they were women. And you get good female divorce lawyers, but let me tell you something. If there's a woman involved, which there is generally, and a man involved, and you're represented by a woman, I think a lot of times the sympathies doesn't lie with the man. And not that they don't do a good job representing you, but I saw a real need for men to be represented by men, especially men that was trying to see their children, and their children were just being taken away from them for the most arbitrary reasons. And so over time, I started doing that, and then I won cases that people said, you'll never win. And then I started making name for myself, and I started getting custody for dads. And then I started getting involved in international child kidnapping, where the mother would take the children and run to another country. And also in line with some of the kidnappings happening now in the news. There's kidnapping is big business. So at our firm, we specialize in international child kidnappings, custody for dads, and also international divorces. But my main thrust that I practice on is custody for dads, which involves also international child kidnapping and international child kidnapping syndicates. And that's us. That's
So
me.
I just want to thanks for that. I just want to let the people know that from the onset I met you, you were quite clear that I should tell people that Shando Theron is my attorney, and if ever anything happens, they need to speak to you. And on many occasions, when people had issues, I referred them to you, and you gave them a free consult just to put them on the right track or give them advice. So
Yes.
I really
Yes.
appreciate that, and that's how through my networking and meeting the great people like Mr. Shando Theron, who's knowledgeable, we can pass it. That's why it's on the platform now, going to offer free advice and obviously help a lot of people who are in the situation. So thank you for that, and our great
Anytime.
friendship that spawned from that initial meeting that continued, which is great, and it's where we are now. So anyway, now that we just passed 8 o'clock and most of our viewers are on, welcome to the program. It's a late night report. We have Attorney Shando Theron with us, and we're going to be especially speaking about fathers' rights, which he explained is, if you're a father, whether you're struggling with your post-divorce, separation, breakup, and you're struggling to get your rights as a father. That's what we are talking about today. So let's get straight into it. You just alluded to it just now. Is there discrimination against fathers in the law when it comes to divorce? I think I know the answer, but you obviously can expand on it. Is there discrimination?
It's the reason I have a job. This discrimination is so rife, and the courts are so one-sided, and it's so sad actually, because I believe a lot of the social evils in our country is because of fatherless children growing up without fathers. But you try and be a father. You try and be a father after a breakup. You try and be a father after or during a divorce when the relationship is soured. The hurdles you have to jump through compared to women, and not that women don't have a hard time. Don't get me wrong. Women have a hard time on many fronts. But let me tell you, one front where fathers have it phenomenally hard is trying to get access to their children and being denied access to their children for the most arbitrary reasons. And I'm busy with that all the time, unfortunately, 7 days a week. So yes, there's massive discrimination. There's discrimination in the Domestic Violence Act. There's discrimination in the Children's Act. There's discrimination in just the way that the courts deal with stuff and the way that the courts think and the institutional memory in the court of how things are done and the role of a mother and the role of a father, and that somehow a father's relationship with children are of a lesser value than that of a mother. And it's not true. It's not true. And
And, and,
yes,
and
there's
so many so
massive.
many times so many times I've a couple of years back had an issue, and I didn't know you then. This guy was desperate. I mean, his wife was doing a hell of a lot of things. I knew him through another friend. He was a father par excellence, but he was being abused, couldn't see his child. There were issues upon issues, but he was going nowhere. He was just going nowhere. He was the end of his rope. I think finally he just gave up on his child. He just gave up because the mother was telling the child against him. And when he goes to see the child is in a different mood. I think he just walked away from his child, actually.
Yes, it's called parental alienation. And, the effects on children are so damaging that in some countries, parental alienation is a criminal offense. that you can go to jail for turning a child against a parent. It's rather give your children cigarettes. It's less damage. The long-term damage that you do to a child by making them distrust one parent, especially the way the natural development of children. If a child stays with one parent, let's say you and your wife gets divorced and your child stays with you. At some stage, your child will naturally rebel against you if you're the central authority. If then the child has then been turned against the other parent, who does that child have? No one. No one. And let me tell you, there's a range of sexual predators standing in line that know the signs for those children, that know that those children are vulnerable from, and it's people in positions that children should be able to trust. And those
Yeah,
people can spot the signs when that child is vulnerable. So you are setting your child potentially up for a lifetime of abuse, for a lifetime of not being able to trust, for a lifetime of having phenomenal relationship and rejection issues. Just because why? Because you were spiteful. And
okay, thank you for
it's
that.
sick.
I just want to send a shout out to my people on my platform here. We are talking one subject today, which is fathers' rights. Please stick to the topic. Please stop asking me questions about other stuff and taking my attention away. Also, Mr. Theron, at the end, we will try and take some questions. So, guys, keep your
Sure.
questions to the end. Let us discuss first. Make some notes. I will try and take your questions before we close. I'll definitely want to take your questions before we close. So just hold on with that. I will take your questions. I know you want to ask them now. Let us discuss everything. Maybe Mr. Theron will answer the question in what we're going to be discussing now. And if he does it, we will. But stick to the topic. If you're talking about something else, we're going to block you and move you out of the platform because you're just disturbing me. Shando, this thing about fathers, discrimination against fathers, is it in South Africa only or around the world? Is it worse off here or does it exist everywhere?
No, it's a worldwide phenomenon. Unfortunately, I'd say most Western legal systems. You have Fathers for Justice organization in America, in Canada, and in England. I mean, recently the Fathers for Justice, a lot of men went and tied themselves to the British buildings of Parliament, and to the Big Ben Tower, and they were very upset because in law, and the same law here, it's very similar to our law here, the Children's Act, it says you have full parental rights, responsibilities as a mother, and I have full parental rights. Well, if you have full rights and I have full rights, it's not a leap of faith to say we have equal rights. However, equal rights are being interpreted that you see your children 20% of the time, but you have to pick up 80% of the cost. Now, that's not equal in anyone's book. And people are
Yes.
sick of it. People are sick of it. So, no, it's a
So
worldwide phenomenon.
what are the current acts that discriminate? Is it in law? What are acts? How is it law, the discrimination? Is it like in your face, something that's written down that discriminates against
It's on
fathers?
various levels. It's on various levels. It's on the mindset of the court, and we'll get to that. They call it the institutional memory of how things used to work and the role of a father plays and the role of a mother plays. And it's directly in some of the acts. For instance, the Children's Act. Let's take Section 21 of the Children's Act. If you were never married to the mother, but you had a child together, then somehow your bonds with your child is of lesser value than the bonds that a married father has with his child. Because the mother can be a heroin addict, but she's got automatic parental rights and responsibilities. You can be a tax-paying accountant, but we have to go to court and prove that you've earned your rights. So somehow, if I was a married father, my bonds with my child are worth more than an unmarried father. Because, well, I don't know why. No one's been able to tell me why. But your bonds as an unmarried father, the law says that your bonds are of a lesser value. And no one's been able to tell me why. And that we now have to go and prove your rights. And that's a process. It's quite a process. And during that time, the child gets alienated, the parents get frustrated. And like you've talked about that situation, it's all too often that the father just gives up. He gives up because even if he is successful, the court application, the child has been turned against him. He is public enemy number
Yes,
one.
yes,
So what's
yes.
it all for? And he walks
He,
away. And
he might win
not
the
that I
legal battle, but he's going to lose the emotional battle.
He already has. I mean, that
Yeah.
child hates him and doesn't even know why. Well, I can tell you why. The child has been indoctrinated, brainwashed, usually by the mother and the mother's mother. They usually that tag team, the mother and the mother-in-law. And they will talk openly, put the child down. They will make that child believe that the father is dangerous, the father doesn't really love them, and that they would psychologically also make that child believe that if the child dares and goes to the father and comes back and says, "Oh, I had a good time," Suddenly, the child at home will get a cold shoulder. The temperature will drop a little bit. The child will feel that, ooh, I shouldn't say I had a good time with dad. As a matter of fact, I should rather say I don't want to go to dad. That will make things at home better. And that onslaught against the child. And the child is left in a very, very, very bad position. And the long-term psychological damage on the child is immense. And in some, as I said to you, in some jurisdictions, parental alienation is a criminal offense, and it should be a criminal offense here. Parental alienation should be an act of domestic violence under the Domestic Violence Act that you, on behalf of your child, can bring against the parent who is doing it and say to them, if you continue doing this, it's child abuse and you're going to go to jail.
Tell
I'm
me,
working very hard on that.
yeah, we'll come to that in terms of changing the law anyway. But it sounds quite dire. But have you made any progress? Have there been court cases that have been won? Has things started to change in any way?
Yes, things are changing, but like in everything in the law, it changes slowly, and so it should. I mean, the court should be conservative in their thinking. They should. They shouldn't be quick to change because the court can't run after every whim. But the roles of mothers and fathers have changed. It used to be, and not too long ago, and a lot of the people who are on the bench, when I say on the bench, who are magistrates and judges, they come from a generation where the mother stayed at home and the father worked. So the father was more emotionally absent from the family, and the mother played a nurturing role. But I don't know of anybody today where the wife doesn't work. 99% of the families out there, both parents are working 7 days a week just to pay school fees. So the current situation is both parents are actually working. Your children are probably being raised to a large extent by a third party, aftercare at school or a domestic at home, or a family member that, like a mother-in-law that stays with you. Bottom line is that both mothers and fathers are working today, are trying to earn a living, trying to put food on the table, and fathers are playing as much of a nurturing role as mothers, and mothers are bringing home as much of the bacon as fathers. So the roles have become completely different. And the court's mindset, the institutional memory of the court, unfortunately, is still stuck in the era where the mother is the nurturer and the father must go out and work and cowboys don't cry. Now it's changing. It's changing. There's been a number of court cases where I've been involved in and we've been successful, where we've gotten custody for dads, and much more these days. I'm getting equal sharing, where if parents live close to each other, that the children spend 1 week with the one parent and 1 week with the other parent, where the child can still go to the same school. Obviously, you can't do that if the parents stay far apart. But it's been a slow process. It's been a phenomenal battle, but it's like turning the Titanic. You do it one nudge at a time.
Yeah, but you're obviously getting there. I just want to say this: when you talk about parents, even if they're not divorced or separated or whatever, there's still the issue about like mother's love is better and fathers are just they go out and they don't do much, whatever. Look, to be honest, I've had that in my life as well. The wife says, "Oh, but I do all of this and she does all of that." They can tell you what they've done, but not realizing what the father has done. That somehow doesn't have as much. I remember seeing a nice meme. This stuck with me, and it really encapsulated. It was like a farmhouse. The mother and son is holding the son's hand, and the father is driving away in his lorry, and the child is reaching out. But obviously, the mother is the nurturer and doesn't realize what the father is. In the child's eyes, the father is leaving him and going away. But what is he going away to do? What's his role? And the mother is the nurturer. Mother is there all the time, but they don't realize what the father has to do: go out, leave his child, leave his wife, and go out to earn a living. And that is not given, I think, as much importance as it should be.
I absolutely agree with you. And these days, a lot of families, both parents have to drive away, and go earn a living because things at life has just become so expensive. But the bottom line is that when a relationship sours, whether you're married, not married, it's for some odd reason the people, and I don't mean to get down on women because men do it too, but mostly 90% of the time, if not more, custody is awarded to the woman. And somehow they seem to go straight there and start to frustrate contact. That the father wants to pick up the child, but now suddenly the child has ballet on the time that the father is supposed to be there. Or the child, suddenly the child's favorite cousins will be at the house, who the child wants to play with, and now the child doesn't want to go with the father. That stuff, or the child has a play date and wants to go to this. It just somehow just happens to be an exact time that the father is supposed to be with the child. So of course, the child will want to go play with their friends or their favorite cousins, or go to a birthday party that's now suddenly been arranged, or stuff like that. But it's just that sort of a whittling away, a diminishing of the role of the father, as you say. And now the father is genuinely, in your picture, the father's driving away. But now the father has turned the car around, drives back, comes to the house and wants to be with the son. And now he gets frustrated and actively stopped. And it's really a hard battle in court. It's really a hard battle, but we are winning them. We are winning them, and we are changing it, and we're working very hard to change the law in certain aspects.
See, let's talk about maintenance and non-payment of maintenance, and how is all this linked? I'm sure there must be something that happens in terms of affecting the maintenance and all of that. Maybe, obviously, you've had some experience. Can you give us maybe some idea of what happened, any recent cases, and what happened there?
Well, I can tell you what happens every day. Maintenance, there's a Maintenance Act, and it's in the Maintenance Court, right? Children's custody, care and custody of children, contact with your children is the Children's Act and in the Children's Court, two different courts. But quite often, they obviously become interlinked. And one of the first things that happens, let's say now with COVID, the father loses his job, doesn't pay maintenance. What's one of the first things that the mother says? Oh, well, you can't see the child. Now, what's she doing? She's now deciding that because the father can't pay maintenance, the child is robbed of a father. It's not justification. Now, here's a guy that's lost his job. It's a scary position for him to be in. It's an embarrassing and a humbling position. He's got to call the school and say, I can't pay school fees. It's not like he's sitting there rubbing his hands in glee. Now, on top of that, he can't see his children. Now he comes home and he's upset because he wants to see his child. And he makes a hoo-ha. He says, you can't keep my child away from me. And he bloody kicks a dog or something, or slams a gate. Now he's facing a domestic violence charge.
Yes, yeah.
And now that domestic violence, the interim order gets granted against him just on the word of the mother. They haven't even heard his story. 6 months passes, that interim order stands. He can't come close to his child. He can't phone his child. He can't talk to his child. Now, the matter comes to court, and it does all the time. And every time it gets proven as false. And what happens to the mother? Nothing. And for 6 months.
Just expand on the interim order in terms of that Family Violence Act and interim order, and how easy. By the way, I'm a victim of that, and then you wonder how innocent dads can have an interim order and even get arrested, as I did. So just expand on that.
Yes,
so you know how easy it is.
It is phenomenally easy. It's probably the most abused piece of legislation in our country. And once again, it's well-meaning, but like a lot of pieces of legislation in our country, it's written by people who's never practiced a day of law in their life. So they've got good intentions, but that really haven't thought it through. I can go to court, and based on a form that I fill in, not even an affidavit, a form that I fill in, it's supposed to be an affidavit, but it's mostly a form that I fill in. An interim order can be granted just on my version of events that can throw you out of your house as a father, bar you from having any contact with your children. And that interim order stands from the moment it's served on you until the matter comes in court, which can very easily be 6 months. And you can do nothing.
So we play out the scenario. The mother held the child back when the father's supposed to have the child. He goes to the home, tries to negotiate and get the child. The mother puts up a fuss. The mother-in-law puts up a fuss. The brother is there. He gets frustrated. He kicks the gate, somehow kicks the dog. She then gets an interim order against him, which stops him from coming to the house, stops him from seeing the child, and comes with a suspended warrant of arrest as well. Am I right?
Yes, the suspended warrant of arrest comes with it. And if he dares try and call his child or meet the child at the school just to drop off a birthday gift, he'll get arrested.
He'll get arrested. He will be arrested, he'll be arrested, placed before court for violation of a protection order.
Yes, for trying to see his child at school. I had a father arrested for dropping off birthday gifts at a school for his children.
Because the interim order said he's not supposed to have any contact.
No contact,
and do anything.
Not allowed to go to school. And for what?
That's how easy. Nothing. Yeah, and like you said, it's that piece of legislation is so abused, because you could have this innocent dad and he's just thrown, and that can make a guy even more frustrated and even more moggy if he's kept away from his child more often. And like I said, I'm experiencing something where I know I'm innocent, but I have an order against me. I have an arrest warrant against me, but I have to, as you said, I've got to toe the line. I've
You
got
have
to
to
go through
go
the process.
prove that you're innocent. You've
Yes.
got to go
Yeah.
prove that you're innocent. You are here guilty until you can prove you're innocent. You're not innocent until proven guilty, like our politicians who are caught red-handed, but they're always innocent until proven guilty. In this case, mate, you are guilty until you go and prove you're innocent.
Tell me about the Domestic Violence Act. How is it working for you? Is it working for the people? Is it working against us?
Look, I can understand why they're actually. We have a problem with gender-based violence. But let me tell you something about gender-based violence. I have so many cases where men are assaulted and abused by their partners, but because of the shame involved in that, say nothing. So, yes, there's gender based violence, but it's not men versus women, it's people versus people. I have as many cases of domestic violence against men as against women. The men just refuse to press charges. They're too ashamed that
Yes.
they allow their wife or their partner to beat them up, and they do. I had a matter now recently where a woman with a tire iron hit my client 4 times with a tire iron. That's a serious damage tire iron. You can do serious damage to a person. On the fifth, uh, on the fifth time that she hit him, he blocked her and he pushed her away. Who do you think spent the weekend in jail?
Sure. The guy.
Yep, yep.
You.
And that is unfortunately the playing field out there, my friend.
Yeah. It's pretty much skewed, which is that is scary. Like I said, I've
If a
experienced it.
woman, if a woman lays a protection order against you, whether you were in a relationship or not, it's murder. What you have to go through, you'll get arrested. You'll be hauled to court like a common criminal. It's really it's beyond
But
unfair.
let's talk a bit about about violence against men. And I agree with you. I mean, I can't see many men rocking up at a police station in a what is a cold charge office, trying to where they inundated with lots of things happening around there. And here's a guy want to lay a charge because his wife hit him. Looks pretty stupid. It's such a difficult thing to do. That's why I think 95% of men would prefer not to do it.
99% of men won't do it. But the other way around, if you look at somebody the wrong way, you get a domestic violence charge against you and you get thrown out of your house. So I'm not saying men should go around laying domestic violence charges. I'm saying it should be a lot harder to lay domestic violence charge than it is right now because it has serious consequences, serious repercussions. You can lose your job, you can lose your livelihood, your reputation can be ruined, you can get thrown out of your own house and not see your children. It's too easy.
No, I was using the same example. Like I've got a protection order against me. I had an arrest warrant, and and everybody knows I'm not guilty of anything. But I had to go through the whole thing. My name was slandered, front page of the newspaper, lost business, and all of that. And then I said, "Hell, man! Imagine an innocent guy who's with his wife and his son going through the same shit. It's unbelievable the amount of power when a woman goes and and then the magistrate falls for it. And then the guy has to go prove himself innocent. I'm now 4 or 5 months down the line trying to prove my innocence, costing me a lot
Yes,
of money.
yes. It's exactly as you say. It's to level the playing fields. And one of the things that should happen is that the act of parental alienation should be brought in under the Domestic Violence Act because a lot more men will then go and lay a charge against a woman who is alienating their children from them. And that would level the playing field. And let me tell you something. And what is parental alienation? If I can quickly jump in there, parental alienation is, if I can, practical example. You pick up your children every alternate weekend, right? You have a nice weekend with them. 2 weeks later, you come there to pick them up, and they refuse to get in the car with you. They're afraid of you. Nothing's changed. Nothing. You've talked to them on the phone in the interim. You discussed with your daughter the day before a school play. You rock up there. They are afraid of you. And nothing has changed. So that is a practical example of how parental alienation works. The what it means in the sort of academic terms of how they define it is that one child, one parent, or caregiver turns the children against the other parent, makes them fearful of the parent, and the parent makes the child believe that the only person that really loves them is them, the parent with the custodial parent, and that if their relationship with the other parent was to be good or solid, it would negatively affect their relationship with the person who they live with that parent. So that's parental alienation, where that other parent is dangerous, and also if you have a relationship with them, it will negatively influence our relationship. I'm the only one
Good.
that really loves you.
That's really really sad, and
Yes.
I will feel for the parents or whoever going through that. Mr. Shando, in your opinion, what changes should be made to legislation? How can we put things right?
Section 21 of the Children's Act should be flushed down the toilet. Why should an unmarried father's rights or relationship with his children be of lesser value than a married father? Can someone please answer me that? There's no answer. It's
Yeah.
arbitrary to say that an unmarried father should be treated any differently than a married father. A married father is already treated crappily enough. And now even more so, if you're unmarried, somehow your bonds with your children are of a lesser value. For what? So that section 21 needs to be flushed from the Children's Act. Secondly, parental alienation should be an act of domestic violence. That you can lay a charge against another party in terms of Domestic Violence Act to say, stop alienating my children. It's child abuse. And if you do it, we're going to lock you up. So those two would be just to start with.
Gender-based violence. When our big topic, but maybe just give us your view. How is it affected by the public discourse? What's the old conversation around gender-based violence? What's your
Yeah.
opinion on it?
Look, the conversation that's happening in the public, and which I don't like at all. Yeah, gender-based violence is a problem. Sure it is. But it's a problem for men on women and women on men. It's not a men just beating up on women. So that's already have a problem there. I see as many cases of it working the other way. But like you say, men are just too ashamed. And even if they do go lay a charge, it's not taken seriously. They get treated as if there's something wrong with it. So that's number one. The second thing is because of the public discourse out there, whenever you say masculinity, the very next word you're supposed to say is toxic. And I've got a problem with the fact that, just because I'm a male, that I'm inherently dangerous and that I'm inherently, there's something wrong with me. And I've got a problem with the fact that goes on with that my child at school is basically being taught, covertly and overtly, that he's a boy. The best he can hope for is to be a defective girl when he grows up. If you look at the sex changes in the world, 95% of the people who want sex changes is boys who want to change to girls. I can tell you why. Because boys are being taught that if you're a male, masculinity, it's toxic. There's something wrong with you. They're also being
Let me
taught that
just
the best.
let me just stop you there. I think the 702 Mayor for the popular DJ, disc jockey, Eusebius McKaiser, right? I loved Eusebius and his talks and whatever. But whenever he came to gender-based violence, he talked about you men. What are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna put it right? Now I'm listening. I'm a guy. Toxic masculinity. I said, dude, what do you want me to do? I don't know anybody who's eating women, but I'm feeling this like I'm supposed to do something. I'm supposed to make a change. Hell, dude, what am I supposed to do? How do I do? Who do I talk to? Why am I supposed to be carrying the can? Why is it all men, toxic masculinity? It's just talking to men in general, toxic masculinity. Have you?
It's yeah, that whole vibe, and that this whole thing that goes with it, that our children today are being taught that the history of the world is men versus women. The history of the world is not men oppressing women. The history of the world is men and women cooperating against the brutality of life to raise children and build societies. Otherwise, we wouldn't have society. The history of the world is men and women cooperating, standing together, and going through really, really tough and hard times to raise children. And if they had 10 children and 4 made it to puberty, it was a good, they did all right. So this thing that we're being taught in schools now, that the history of the world is men oppressing women, that's not the history of the world. The history of the world is men and women cooperating against the brutality of life. That's the history of the world. And I have a problem, and that this whole toxic masculinity conversation is part of that. And it's not true. And it's sick and it's stupid. And I resent people that have no children of their own telling me how to raise my children.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
along with that, telling me that my child can't vote, but they can decide whether they're a boy or a girl. No, they can't. You want to do that with your children? Go do it with your children. You know, a
100%.
tree is judged by its fruit. I want to see the fruit you are going to bear. What teenagers you're going to have. If it's like you can't call them boy and you can't call them girl, and your girl can use the boys' bathroom and the boys can go into the girls' bathroom. I disagree with that. And it's almost as a rule, people who have no children of their own who want to force this down my throat. And I say no.
So let's talk about that a bit more. I'm interested in that. But before I do that, for some reason today we have a bad feed. A lot of guys have been disconnected, wanting me to record the feed. I will share the link. I do know there's a problem with sound. With a lot of you going off and on, getting frozen. I will share the live feed. The feed is still carrying on, by the way, and we are carrying on, and we'll share the feed on my platform. So let's just go on, and as we round up here, I'm aware of it. So yeah, this thing about the kids and how we grew up. Now we as parents, government wants to tell us how to treat our kids and how to do things and how to treat our kids. Where does our role stand, and how are they kind of coming to my house and fix my problem? My son is telling me something. I'm the king of my house. I told my son on many occasions, and my son is quite well behaved, but I said to him, if he gets upset, runs in his room, closes the door, I'm not going to come and knock on the door and say, "Son, can I come in?" No, I'm going to boot the bloody door down and get in the room.
Well,
I'm the
yes.
dad. I'm the ruler. When you get your own house and your own roof, and that's your thing. But for now, you live under my rules. Am I wrong? Am I an animal? Am I a bad father? What am I?
Well, apparently you should be taken outside and shot. And like you say, according to some of the people out there, but like you say, government wants to come into your house and fix the problem. But the thing is, there's no problem. Your son's doing fine. You're doing okay. He has respect for his elders. He has good manners. He says, yes, sir, no, sir. He cleans his room. He makes up his bed. I don't see the problem. He uses the boys' bathroom. He tries to treat women with respect. He takes responsibility when he makes a mistake. Okay, I don't see the problem. So
100%.
I don't see the problem there. I don't see the problem with people having good manners. I don't see a problem with my boy being proud to be a boy. I don't see a problem with my girl being proud to be a girl. I don't
and
see the
and my and the
problem.
same thing, how I discipline, I in my mind, and in today's society is frowned upon, how I discipline my child, because I know what I want to, where I want to see him at the end of the day. I know why I want him to be in a certain place. I know why I'm doing that. But obviously now the world and government and other people will tell me how to do that. I mean, parenting is how my friend raises his child or daughter. My child is different. His mentality is different. His way of thinking is different. The way he sees things is different. So I'm raising him that way. I can't follow this model, so to speak. Does it even really work?
No, it doesn't work. And like I say, generally the people are trying to tell us to do this have no children of their own. I've seen. You have people telling me, and this expert and that expert, and I must do this, and my boy must wear a dress, and my girl must grow a mustache. But they generally don't seem to have any children of their own. And you know that, like you say, they're welcome if they have children to raise children as they see fit. And you know what? If they want to marry their pot plant, whatever, they can do it. But in my house, things don't work that way. In my house, there are rules, there are regulations, and my daughter slammed the door once, and quite simply, I just took the door off, and she had no door for 6 months, and that was the last time the door was slammed. And my daughter
Well,
is a good, fantastic first year BCom student with good manners. My son is naughty as can be, but he's good manners and he gets good grades at school and he makes the normal amount of trouble. But I think he's going to develop into a wonderful young man one day. I have faith in him. But it does so because I am consistent with him in the way that I treat him. And he knows exactly what the codes and what the rules are because I teach it to them. And I will not let an outside person tell me how to raise my children. They can raise their children as they want.
100%, 100%. Shadu, let's get back to the father's rights now. Many people are listening and are going to listen again when I share the live feeds. Unfortunately, a lot of them couldn't get on, but we're going to share the feed on my WhatsApp groups and my Facebook again tomorrow. Firstly, is there hope for father? Okay, let's talk about this first before we get there. And even me, I'm in my court case, and I told you about matters that I'm dealing with. Is it not right? how do you put this? That sometimes, through no fault of their own, fathers find themselves with attorneys who don't really want to fight the fight, don't know the facts, don't know how to make things happen, and then they find themselves lost. Can they find themselves in that position? Let me just finish. I've learned from my experience that not all attorneys are attorneys. Some attorneys know more than other attorneys. And if you want to do the work, like in my case, I've got to get a guy who's honed and skilled in that department. I can't just get a guy who handles divorce, come and handle a criminal matter. He's an attorney, but I'm in a criminal matter. He's a divorce attorney. Then I'm going to find myself, maybe I don't win the case because I got the wrong guy for the job. Does that make sense?
Look, it's perfect. It makes perfect sense, especially matrimonial law. And the matrimonial law, which includes divorce, domestic violence, maintenance, wills, estates, custody battles. Matrimonial law has become a very specialized area of law. And if I can draw an example, your dentist is medically trained, and your heart surgeon, your cardiologist is medically trained. They're both doctors, so to speak. But you don't want your dentist doing heart surgery on you, and you don't want your cardiologist doing dental work on you. And for obvious reasons, because it's not the area of speciality. So to you now to get a general practitioner to say, oh, well, he's a friend of the family and he once registered a company for me or did something, or it's my father's lawyer, as it always is. He now must handle my divorce or my custody case. Well, you know what? You'd be better off doing it on your own. And not because the person's a bad lawyer, but it's not the area of speciality. Especially if you do custody for dads or international divorces or international child abductions, which we do. You better have somebody that knows what they're doing. Otherwise, you're on a hiding to nothing. You're already
No.
starting with an unlevel playing field. You can't be
Yeah,
taking chances.
I agree with you, and that's alluding to also what's happening in Phoenix with the guys. They've taken an attorney because really, if you're not involved in law, hasn't been in law, you see an attorney. Like I would say, I'm looking for an attorney, and my friend says, I know a guy, take him, and then we take him, and then 3 months down the line, you said, hell, man, where am I? What have I got? What am I doing here? So it's important to be able to understand. People must. I even tell the guys there, which I've learned, start to educate yourself, start to find out things, consult with other people, then question. Is it okay to question your attorney? What about this? Aren't we doing that? Shouldn't we do this? Because some attorneys get upset. Oh, and I've been told this, you don't trust me. You don't think I don't know my job. What's my right as a client?
Your right as a client is the client is bloody well always right. Now, your client comes to you with instructions, and you must say to me, you say to your client, and I many times, if I think for 1 second that I know everything there is to know, then I shouldn't be doing what I do. My job, I never stop learning. A lot of times I sit with a client and we go work through the law to see if we can come up with a creative solution, especially when you're using legal systems of other countries. When the children are in another country, whether it be Saudi Arabia or Canada, and we're trying to get them back here. I mean, I'm sitting with my client on the weekends, looking at the law of that country and trying to see where can we do, what can we do, reading up articles and stuff. And a lot of times, clients who are non legally trained have actually given me phenomenal ideas because, I've got a very structured way that I think about stuff because I've been taught that way. But now I get somebody who says a completely left field who's not involved in law at all and then says, but hey, shouldn't we try this? Because I read once something here and it turns out they're right. So most of my great ideas I get from sitting with clients and them saying, hey, what about this?
No, that's
Because
great.
they not
Actually.
haven't been taught to think in a specific way like I've been taught
Yes.
in law school.
Yeah, I see a lot of attorneys get upset when the clients. I'm trying to tell my friends, start to question, start to empower yourself. Guys, the few guys that are on here, if you want to ask your questions, please, let's try and do that as we wrap up. You can put your questions through on the platform if you are through, if you're not frozen at the moment. I got a Rasraj Das here. He says that he's got parental rights. I think he's a single parent father. To date, not a cent received from the natural mother in child maintenance. Obviously, she's supposed to pay the maintenance, not a cent received. So if someone's in that position, is there anything really that he can do?
Yeah, look, they can go to maintenance court and try and enforce it, but let me tell you something. Uh, it's very difficult to get maintenance from women. Very difficult. Very. I have many matters where there's maintenance orders, but you think the court will actually get off their backside and actually enforce it? They should. It's the same act. But once again, it's yeah, good luck with that. What I do in a situation like that is we work out what the areas are if there is an order. and we just attach her stuff. We go and attach a house or attach a car or attach something of hers. We don't even go to court to do it. We just get a warrant of execution. And then
Oh,
the
that can be
sheriff
done.
comes and
So that's a way
yeah,
out.
yeah, you get a warrant of execution. And then the sheriff comes and writes up the stuff, and then she basically has to buy her stuff back from the sheriff. That way you get your money. So I don't go through the maintenance process. I just go through the civil process and just get a warrant of execution.
Wow, that's great. I wanna, I wanna relate I wanna relate a story to you. This was a dad, by the way, and high-powered dad, lots of mullah, separated from
Like
his
you.
wife, and she obviously took the child. But this is something that I heard like about 8 years back. First time I heard 10 years back about a father claiming rights. I mean, he, through his financial influence, the mother moved the child to her mother's house in Chatsworth, right? He took her to court saying that he feared for his child's life because Chatsworth was an unsafe place. And he forced the mother to move back to the matrimonial home where he wasn't staying, but to move there, somewhere in Amshlanga, and the court told her, you can live in that house with that child, but you cannot live with your mother, because he went to court and proved that he felt his child was unsafe.
Yeah, look, that's a long shot. And I'd want to check up on the facts of that case. I haven't heard of the court forcing somebody to move.
I
The
also
court
found
would
it,
rather,
I
yeah,
found it
I'd have to,
very strange.
I'd want to double check that. I'd want to double check those facts. I have had situations like that before, and the court gave a different order. Yeah, no. I haven't heard yet where the court says to you, oh, you can't live there. You can live where you want to live in terms of the Constitution. It might just be that your children shouldn't be living with
Yeah, so
you.
that's strange.
It might be a
Let's take
change of
a
custody.
let's take a question from okay, someone asks here, what rights do fathers have if a protection order has been granted for the child when the divorce is over? Do you understand that question completely?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Look, it's if it depends who the protection order was granted against and who it was granted in favor of. It was granted in favor of the child or in favor of this. We'd have to see. Let's say there was an order granted. Let's say an order was granted unjustly or erroneously against you. An order that shouldn't have been granted against you. That order can be rescinded. Let's say the order was granted in your favor. Then, if the person oversteps it, a warrant of arrest can be issued. Once again, not the same rules that apply for men and women. You as a man, if you overstep, you get arrested. There seems to be a real aversion of putting a woman in the back of a police van.
Yeah. Skewed once again. Puvesi really says, I am being allowed to see my daughter at the moment with a very limited time, which is only about 6 hours a week, with accusations used against me. How can I go about overcoming this? Obviously, being having an issue, how can they go about it? Can they overcome it?
Yes, they absolutely can overcome it. You go to court and you fight. You fight like a mad person, like a mad dog. That's what you do. You fight. You don't give up. It's a person who goes back to court that one more time. That's a guy that wins.
Please discuss the parent consent to the vaccine. I don't know about that. Right.
Yeah,
Shando,
we can talk about the vaccine. I just did an interview yesterday about that. Talk
okay,
about
so they're
taking
asking about
parents' rights.
parent consent to the vaccine. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
so
let's
firstly,
answer this question here first. Bina Harisankas asks, at what age does a child stop receiving maintenance?
okay, so a lot of people get confused about this because the age of majority in the maintenance in the Children's Act is 18. But let's say your child is now going to university and applying themselves. Okay, so they're over the age of 18, like my daughter, but she still requires maintenance because she's not working. So a child can stop claiming maintenance as from the date that they don't require maintenance anymore. So 18 is not a be all and end all. A lot of children, if they go to university, still require maintenance. Now, there's been a court case where a father who had the ability to pay for a child's university refused to pay, and the court said it was okay. And that reason was the child wasn't applying himself. The child failed all the courses and was sitting in their room smoking weed all the time. And the father could pay, but he said, why should I? And the court said, no, you're right. If your child is not applying themselves and failing every subject, then that duty falls away. But as long as your child's applying themselves, you have a
Okay.
maintenance duty, but a duty with the other parent. Not one parent pay everything. Both parents make a contribution.
Do you, do you find yourself in court that sometimes you're at the mercy of a magistrate who has a skewed view, female magistrates, male magistrates? Does that come into play a lot? Is it human error, human beings just making a
It comes
call?
in, it comes into play every time I'm in court. We are human. You have your bias and your views. You're not a machine. And you are a sum total of your experiences and your choices up until that time. You come up against somebody, a magistrate, male or female, who's been through a bad divorce, a male magistrate who himself is struggling to see his children, a female magistrate who's not receiving maintenance from her husband, her ex-husband. Of course, it's going to influence them. But my job is to try and moderate that. But humans are people. We're human. We're people. We have our biases. And to think for 1 second that we are this machine that doesn't feel anything, we aren't thinking beings that feel. We are feeling beings that think once in a while. And so, of course, yes, everyone has their biases. Every magistrate has their biases, but it's my job to moderate that as best I can.
Right, we are taking questions if you can, if you're still online with us to ask questions to Shando Theron, who's speaking to us about child's father's rights, by the way. Lulu Naidu says, my son applied for a divorce. He still pays baby school fees and buys all his stuff, but he's not allowed to see his son till the divorce. Can he go to court and apply for visitation rights if the divorce is till the divorce is closed? Obviously,
Yes,
separation,
yes,
no divorce,
yes,
being denied rights to see the child.
yes.
What's the rights?
There is a specific procedure for that, for interim custody and interim maintenance. That is in the High Court. It's called Rule 43. In the regional court, you can get divorced in the High Court or the regional court. The High Court, it's called a Rule 43 application. He can apply for interim custody right now to see his children. If it's the regional court, it is Rule 58. But both are the same thing. Pending the finalization of the divorce, he can get care and contact rights.
Okay, so Lulu, there you go. Shando has answered that. There is a way. High Court Rule 40, 48, 42.
43,
And
High Court 43, Regional 58.
so that is to get interim custody until the divorce is finalized.
Yes.
Right, so Lulu, I hope we answered your question there. Very quickly, guys, if you've got any other questions, let me know. We'll talk about vaccine while we went to the next question. What are you going to say about the vaccine?
Yeah, so the Minister of Health has come out with this blanket statement that he can give consent to all children to have the vaccine. Okay.
Oh, yes, that's
My
what they
per-
asked me. Whether they, oh, okay, that's, yeah, now I was wondering what, okay, right, great topic. Speak about
Now,
it. Let's
Section
go.
129 of the Children's Act, it says that a child over the age of 12 can consent to medical procedures, but it's specific. It's not blanket. For instance, a child doesn't need parental consent to have an abortion. Obviously, we know why. But there's also where a parent unreasonably refuses, and the child is over 12 years old, and the child has the mental capacity to understand. Then, if the child needs to go for a medical procedure, a hospital superintendent can agree, or the Minister of Health can agree. But it's very specific and it's on a case by case basis. So it says now the child has the right to go and get vaccinated, right? It doesn't say what the rights of the parents are. Can you, as a parent, stop that child? What are your rights? What if there's medical complications? Who's going to pick up that hospital bill? Let's say your child gets vaccinated at school against your knowledge or against your wishes. There's medical complications. You're set with a 200,000 rand medical bill. Who's going to pick that up? It was done against your wishes or without your consent. No answer to that. Also, the Act was never written for children to get vaccines, the Children's Act. It was written, and I was involved in 2 of these court cases. I can tell you why the current Act says that there are certain times when children can, or a child's wishes, or the hospital superintendent, or a minister can override if it's in the child's best interest. In those cases, I was involved in 2 cases where both times the parents refused the child medical treatment on religious grounds. The child needed dialysis urgently. Or the child would have died within 72 hours. And the other one, the child needed a blood transfusion and would have died within 24 hours. very specific cases, and where the children, the parents said on religious grounds we cannot allow this, and there they were overridden by the hospital superintendent, the hospital super. So very specific matters. It wasn't this blanket like your child can now go do what they want medically as it's being packaged now.
Okay, so if
That's
I
not.
understand it now, the Minister of Health is saying, basically giving you one part of the law that anybody over 12 has a right to do what they want. So they're just saying that.
Yes, as far as vaccines. Now there's something very important. I can understand why they're saying that. And the reason why is a couple of reasons. One reason is that if you look at England and Israel, probably some of the heaviest vaccinated areas or countries in the world, people who are now presenting themselves to hospital with serious COVID symptoms are young, unvaccinated children, the 12 to 17 age group. There seems to be some mutations out there which are not so friendly to children. So the numbers are going up in those places, and it's unvaccinated children that are now having to go on ventilators. Can you imagine a 12, 13-year-old child having to go on ventilation? It must be terrible. And the parents can't be with the child. More terrible. So I can understand why they are saying rather go get your jab. Secondly, of course, the more bodies a virus gets exposed to, the more mutations of the virus there are. And as we know, some of the mutations can be quite bad. So, and the third reason is if you as a child unwillingly bring COVID home and you're responsible for the death of your parents or your grandparents, and I know of a situation where a child brought COVID home from school and killed both their parents, and they have brothers and sisters. Imagine having to live with that for the rest of your life. Even if it's unwittingly, you were responsible for the death of your parents. So those reasons, the psychological trauma that children can go through if they unfortunately were responsible, they brought COVID home and they killed a loved one. But also now that a lot of people in Israel and in England that are presenting now with serious COVID symptoms are the 12 to 17 unvaccinated age group.
Yeah.
So I can understand why the government is saying that. But I think the government's interpretation of the Children's Act is very opportunistic at this moment because
Okay.
it doesn't answer the question, what are the rights of parents?
Rights of parents. So this is giving a blanket. So I think most people understand that. Let's go quick to a question from Muhammad Arshad Khan. Is from outside the country. He's saying he needs help. He hasn't seen his children in almost, so he's obviously out of the country. He hasn't seen his children in almost 3 years. He said he's banned to come back to South Africa. His papers was cancelled by his ex. So he's now out of the country. His papers were cancelled, whatever way, but he hasn't seen his children in 3 months. How will his case be handled?
Yeah, Mohammed, we deal with these cases like that all the time. And that's one of our specialities. I would say, is there to my website? Can you put up a link to my website? You should just copy our
Yeah,
website.
we'll post it later. I'll get Charmaine to post a link to Shando's website, but we will do that. Shando Theron,
If you can just message us on the website or give my email address if you can. If you can just email me, it takes quite a bit of explanation, obviously depending on the legal system of which country is involved in, where the children are here, and if there's a divorce or not divorce, and a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, I need to sit and consult with him.
So
But
basically, what we can tell Muhammad is all is not lost. There is a way out. You've done this before.
yes,
You've handled matters
yes,
like this before, right? So Muhammad will.
that's what we do.
We will definitely be able to post the link. Even Shando can go on later on and post the link here. We'll try and send a message out to you. So if people like Muhammad are battling with stuff like that, early on in the conversation, Shando did say that he specializes in these things. Before I go on to the next question, Shando. What is Shando? How did you get them Shando? Come on, give us a
No,
story.
I think my
Is that your
parents
real
smoked too
name?
much weed in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, there was quite a family rupture. My family name was supposed to be Jacobus Francois and something else, and my mom said no. And then I think I was 3 days old without a name. The story goes, and my dad was a Louis L'Amour fan. You know those Louis L'Amour cowboy books? And
Yeah.
somewhere in there was a drunk
Oh,
Indian
Louis
with my
L'Amour.
name.
We
Yes,
used
Louis
to say
L'Amour.
Louis L'Ama. We used to say Louis L'Ama. Not only later on I got to know it's Louis L'Amour. So it's Louis L'Ama was what we knew. But I hear you, right?
Louis L'Amour, my dad was a fan. And then I think he just lost his marbles one day because I was 3 days old without a name. And he opened the book and he said, "This is his name." And
Re-
yeah,
Is that a true story?
Well, my sister says the meaning of my name is little worm that crawls fast, but that's her version, so I don't know.
Must be a version. Right. I think we can leave it there, Shando. It's been a pleasure having you on the platform. We must do it again. I think sadly we've had bad weather, and we're due for bad weather coming up. Bad connection. A lot of people, I could see by the viewers are quite low. Not normally that way. A lot of people battling on connection. The feed was freezing. We seem to be getting on quite okay. Good feed. Somehow they couldn't get the feed. But anyways, let's a parting shot from you in terms of fathers' rights and custody, and also give out your details if you can quickly, how they can
Okay.
get a hold of you.
Okay, I'll start by giving out my details. And if you can post this, please don't ask me to post this because there's a BC book before my name, which stands for before computers.
Okay.
So my website is www.divlaw, as in the first three letters of divorce, .divlaw.co.za. My email address, if you can post that, please. You have my email address. It's my name, shandu@divlaw.co.za. Yeah, and you always say I shouldn't do this, but I always do this. I give out my cell phone number. It's 082 819 5675. 082 819 5675. I'll say it one more time. 082 819 5675.
195675.
Yeah, please WhatsApp me if it's really urgent. Call me for sure, but I also need to sleep. But yeah, you can WhatsApp me anytime, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'm in court most of tomorrow, but I will really try and get back to you. Our office is also open on Sundays, but so we really do work hard because we believe in what we do. A parting shot to fathers is you are not alone. We know what you're going through. It's brutal, but we are fighting those fights and we are winning them. So don't give up. Do not walk away from your children. Do not. It's you might think that's the easy option. It's not. It's not the easy option.
So basically, I could lead into song. You can say, "You are not alone.
Yes,
Shando's here with you.
part of the way
Though
at
she's
least.
taken your child,
Oh,
you have your rights."
don't quit your day job.
Yeah, no, I try. Mr. Theron, thank you so much for coming on. You've been on television, you've been on all the top radio stations. So I'm very privileged to have you on my platform. I'm sure my guests, I've learned a lot from you. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I'm on CakeNet tomorrow morning at about 6:20 for what it's
CakeNet.
worth. CakeNet.
Hulle moet jou sien daar op CakeNet.
Die taal van die onderdrukkers.
Ja,
Dis Afrikaans TV.
ja, CakeNet môre watter tyd?
6:20, 20 past 6 in the morning.
Ag, 20 minute oor 6 in die môre.
Are we talking about surrogacy agreements? Yes.
Or surrogate mothers.
That's a big one. That's a big one. The wheels are coming off there.
Sure. Are the wheels on anyway?
Well, they're never quite on, but they really are. There's some funny things going on there at the moment.
Reg, en meneer Theron, aan skrik nou op die ander kant vir die eleksies nou, hoe gaan jy vote sê? Jy vote vir die
Hoe gaan ek vote?
Jy was nog by Senekal.
I think I'm voting EFF.
Sê vir ons Senekal, wat het daar gebeur? Jy was daar by Senekal. By the way, Shando Theron, at that point I was and he offered to take me to Senekal. Am I right?
Yes.
He said,
yes, as long as you paid for the ammunition, he paid for the ammunition. And he promised to cover my medical bill, and so I went.
If you guys remember Senekal, the case then, and I almost went with him. I told my wife, I'm going with Shando. She said, your leg, and the time I had my kid, she said, are you serious? I said, but I'll be in the vehicle. I tried to make every reason to say, because I really wanted to go to Senekal. And but Shando was giving me the updates, am I right?
Yes, no, and it was tense. It was very tense. That day could have gone very badly, at least twice, and we were on air with you, and yeah, tensions were high, and people were spoiling for a fight on both sides, but somehow things managed to calm down. But there was I'm ex-military, but it'd been a while. There was a time there when I was genuinely afraid. And it'd been a while since I'd felt that fear. The last time I felt that fear was when I was in the military. So there was a time there where you could see just it's about to go off, and it was
like
it's
it
going
go,
to, was
like
going to
it
end
go off.
badly for
Yeah,
everybody.
and the fear was
Mm.
tangible. It was clear and
Yeah,
present.
I was scared.
And for a guy from military to say that makes you really come to the party to realize for you to say you felt real fear.
Mm.
Yeah.
I hope it
Mr.
doesn't happen
Theron,
again.
Mr. Theron, thank you once again, and we'll chat soon. Have a good evening.
Anytime. Have a phenomenal day, and thank you all night, and thank you for all the good work that you do.
Thanks for your support. Bye now.
Anytime.
There we go, Shando Theron, and I hope you enjoyed it, guys. We did have a problem with the feed. We will share the link. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to have Shando on my team. What a wonderful guy. Always phone him up. Always willing to help. Always willing to give advice, and he gives the right advice. Sometimes I move him into, this happened to me, and I do that. He said, "What? That's not what you do. Go to court, present yourself." In my matters, guys, I asked him for advice. I thought he'd be on my side. The magistrate didn't say this. He said, "No. Do the right thing, sign the document, go to court, place yourself before the court, and defend yourself." He always gave me the right advice. He didn't give me advice just to make me feel right or whatever. So that's what I appreciate. Guys, thank you so much. Sorry about the feed. We're going to share the link on the platforms later on. Until then, tomorrow it's the midday report, 12 o'clock. It's Friday. Tomorrow, Friday. Next week, Monday, ACC, the leader of the ACC, Imtiaz Syed, joins us. Tuesday is reserved for the ANC and Wednesday for the EFF. Let's see if that really happens. Today, we had a big discussion about the South African Hindu Mahasabha and their donation of 108,000 rand and 10 houses to the Khan Road settlement. And it was a good discussion today, and I'm sure we'll pick up that story again. But until tomorrow, 12 o'clock, I'm going to the dentist tomorrow. I'm going to remove the filling. I'm going to remove. So I don't think I'll do tomorrow night. Wednesday, on Saturday, I'm in Phoenix, meeting the accused family there. Lots of things happening there, but I'll tell you about that maybe tomorrow. Right, let's go. Until tomorrow, the midday report, 12:30. Keep it, mother. My name is KC Caro. Charo. I'm out.